Hey guys, welcome to this special episode of Yesterday's Capers. And in this episode, I'll be talking to Dante Lee and Irvin Lee, a father and son duo from Los Angeles. Dante Lee is a blogger and internet marketeer, and Irvin Lee is a IT consultant and songwriter. Now, the significant thing about this duo is that Dante Lee, he felt like, or he believed that he was showing a lot of the symptoms of COVID-19, and he was denied a test. So he couldn't know one way or another or for sure whether or not he had it. But he felt at the time that he was showing a lot of the symptoms of coronavirus. Now, I know you're probably thinking, oh, well, if he thinks he has it, maybe he doesn't. But the whole point of us trying to figure out how to beat this thing is that we need to be able to test people, and if they have it, take the necessary action, and if they don't, then they can be eliminated. And that's the whole point, to make sure that if people have it, people don't have it, the right course of action needs to be taken. And as a result of all of this, his dad, Irvin, or he calls himself the Undiscovered Artist, he wrote a song called the Coronavirus Song, or the Rona Song. And the song was written, I'm guessing, or as they will tell us in the interview, it was just about writing a song, just telling them like how he feels, and he's portraying it and he's expressing it in the song. I mean, I've heard the song. I think it's a fantastic song, and I'm not going to talk too much because I don't want to give the interview away. So why don't you actually listen to it for yourselves? And yeah, here you go. Here's the interview. I'm sure you will enjoy it. It's very, very important right now. It's a topic, a subject that doesn't seem to be going away. The pandemic doesn't seem to be going away. So I'll stop talking and you can listen to the interview now. And I'm delighted to say that joining me is Dante Lee and his father, the Undiscovered Artist. Hey guys, how's it going?
All right, how you doing, Epps? How about you?
Good, good.
Doing good.
I mean, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to me. I really, really appreciate it.
And we feel exactly the same. Thank you. It's an honor to be on your show.
Oh well, thank you very much. I mean, let's get started right away. So, if you guys just want to tell me a bit about yourselves and what you do.
Yeah, so I do web development and blogging, and my dad is an IT consultant. And I guess the reason why we're here on your show a little bit is because I about 2 months ago I started feeling the symptoms of the coronavirus, and I went to get tested. And ultimately, I was denied a test. I was told that I didn't qualify for a test. So that was kind of a scary experience for my family. And my dad, also being a songwriter, he decided to write a song about it. And then the song became really popular.
I mean, what exactly did they say? Like the reason why you were denied a test? Was there any particular reason that they gave?
I mean, ultimately, the reason that was given to me was that I had some of the symptoms, but it wasn't bad enough to get tested. So ultimately, they were saying that you have to pretty much be dying before you get a test. And so that's very frustrating because, of course, this virus is very contagious, and you do need to know if you have it so that you can be sure not to infect others. Also, so that you can receive the proper treatment that you might need to save your own life.
Yeah. I mean, because the World Health Organization, one of the things that they'd kind of said when once it was announced that it would be a global pandemic was test, test, test. That was one of the key components. So the fact that you're showing symptoms and they're not willing to test you unless you're like literally on the gurney like knocking on death's door. That sounds crazy to me. And also, I think here in the UK, it's almost similar to the point of where the NHS, they're kind of telling people like, don't call us unless you're on the brink, kind of thing. And I don't know. I find that to be insane.
That's what makes it really sad because the symptom I actually had the worst symptom that you could have which was difficulty breathing, and that still didn't qualify me for a test. And sadly, in the nationwide black community, even in the UK, there have been black people who have been denied tests, some of them multiple times, and then they end up dying from the virus.
Yeah, and it's a case where like this virus, it appears to be affecting the black community way more.
Correct.
So that's another component to kind of consider and look at.
Absolutely.
And also, like, with how are you feeling now?
So this was 2 months ago. I feel a lot better. Um, but still the frustration and the disappointment is there
Of
because
course.
you see other families going through the same thing, and as you mentioned, it seems to be primarily happening to black people around the world. So I think that was really what inspired my dad to write a song to put it out there about this particular virus and the black perspective of it, the black experience of it.
Yeah, and not only that, but still, I mean, okay, we prayed and he survived, but you got to remember that suppose it's not over, you can get it again. So can you imagine the thought of your first experience when you really weren't treated, and if you ended up feeling sick again or getting it again, you now you already know, ahead of time what to expect, and that's not encouraging at all.
You know, I was literally gonna say that there is no guarantee that once you've had the virus, that is no guarantee that it can come back again.
Absolutely.
It's not one of those where if you've had it, it goes away and that's it. Like it can easily come back. And so in that kind of respect, like how are you sort of handling it now in terms of like being in lockdown and self isolation? Like how's that going for you right now? Both of you, actually.
Well, we have a protocol. I mean, we're following the protocol that everybody should be following. We definitely taking it seriously. So, we have our masks. We definitely, we don't go out a lot. And if one person goes out, we try to get our shopping list done in that fashion. We all have our, 70% alcohol sprayers.
Washing
Yeah,
hands.
yeah. So I mean, we taking it serious. We're not of that group that's thinks it's a hoax, you know, or thinks it's not real. So
And then just eating right, boosting your immune system, anything you can do that makes sense, that's logical to keep your
Yeah,
resistance up.
absolutely. And what message would you have to people who aren't taking it seriously?
well, that's a good question and a hard question to answer because people are not taking it seriously for so many reasons. Some based on the rights of a human being, others just not outright believing it, and everything in between. And so it almost seems like a movie that was casted bad. It's the same disease affecting us all. Then you have these different reactions, like it's an option, like it's and so it's just hard to explain, the reactions of other people. You have people now walk. You go outside, some got on masks, some don't. You know, and then they're stopped and interviewed by the media. They have the reason that they have to support what they're doing are not going to blow you away. It's like just these reasons of
It's more about their constitutional rights.
yeah, and that kind of thing. Oh, I'm not worried about it right now. As much I wear my mask when I do this, but I don't think I need it right now. So it's hard. You know.
Yeah. I mean, because obviously you've kind of faced this virus head on, it seems, and you obviously had the worst of it, which was not breathing. I mean, how does it make you feel if someone's just going out, just brazenly, just going about their daily life? Like I've seen in Florida, like the beaches are like all packed out. Even like here in the UK, like because last week was our kind of Veterans Day memorial sort of thing, and you literally had people out on the streets having like street parties. You wouldn't think that there was a pandemic. So when you're kind of seeing all of that and considering like how this virus has hit home, like how does that make you feel?
I mean, it's sad, it's frustrating, it's disappointing that people, unfortunately, will have to potentially get the virus themselves or be affected. That one of their own family members get affected before they really see how serious it is. But yeah, it's sad. But what can you do? You know, other than I guess what we're doing now, just talking about it, creating awareness. I think the song my dad wrote was a great idea because like music speaks to people. You know, it speaks to all age groups, it speaks to all nationalities, and it kind of penetrates you in a different way. And when you think about it, there's no song out there right now that kind of seriously takes on this virus and how it's affecting us.
Yeah. And in terms of the song, like tell me about the process of the song, how you came up with the idea, what like kind of work went into making the song.
Well, like I said, my son, had his experience, which means if he had it, as a parent, you have it, so, and so we have different phases of the process. The first is dealing with my son and the reality of, going to the hospital and coming back and not knowing any more than he knew before he left and still having the symptoms. As like I said, you're seeing now, you're seeing now what you've seen on television happening right in front of you. My son, me and my son are into healthy eating and all that. So he's never had a condition where he couldn't breathe. Neither have I. So, so he can't breathe. And, and normally when you go to a doctor, they immediately want to give you a series of tests. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even if you don't even qualify for it, they always throwing in some tests. And so it's very unique how with this one situation here, when you need a test to determine, where you are you sick or are you not, a test seems to be the hardest thing to get, and like you said, in the media, they talk about, the testing, but in reality, it's a decision that's really being made once you get there, and that decision varies. Somebody decides for after checking you out is whether you deserve to have a test or not, or go home and come back when when you're a little bit sicker than this. So that's frightening at all. That's frightening. And then, like you said, he came back and we didn't know, whether he was infected or not, and neither did he. So, but eventually we did the next best thing. We prayed, and he continued to strengthen his immune system, with herbs and vitamins and foods, and it worked out. And so after we got past that point, we were able to take our frustration and now take it somewhere else. And that's when the song came up, and I ran it past my son and he ran it past me. And normally I don't sing anymore, but COVID-19 took away that option. Normally I'll write something and somebody else will sing it, but
Yeah.
and so that was the reason why it wasn't going to happen. And then my son says, well, hey dad, it's got to happen and you got to sing it. So
Yeah.
yeah, and that's how we got to that, to that point.
What has the response been like of this song of yours? How have people reacted to it, and how's that been like?
Well, the reaction has been extremely well. I mean, we're constantly doing interviews, and they're lining up. And like I said, we have a very serious song. We're not, a lot of the songs out there kind of, give or take a handful, they're kind of laughing and joking, and talking about me, and how this is inconveniencing me, quarantining and all that. And so in my song really outlines the story, of events per verse of what people are experiencing, with the virus, and so from the from the doctor, to stores with masks, and then the thought process people were thinking about what they're going, when somebody coughs, how does that make you feel, and then the fact that you can't get a test. So my song covers all of those scenarios, and so, and that's, and it's also, and it has a serious tone, and so that's why the response has been good, extremely well. So, and my son, he's handling, so he can tell you more. But we just got on a chart where Alicia Keys was the number one song, we were number two.
Yeah, like the
Oh wow,
top ten R&B, hip hop, and reggae coronavirus songs, and we were listed as number two.
that's amazing.
Yeah, we've been promoting the song. We made it available for people to listen to and stream for free. We created a website at coronavirussong.com. Um, you can stream it on iTunes. You can stream it on Spotify, SoundCloud, all of those. And then yeah, it's just been receiving international attention. Like now we have the pleasure of doing an interview with you all the way in the UK. So it's gone overseas, and I think it just resonates with people. It's a real song. It speaks to what people are really going through. And like my dad, he can expound on this, but like he grew up in an era where music was like that, like Marvin Gaye and such. Like those type of people, and Stevie Wonder, they wrote songs about what people were going through at the time. And this song does just that. So it kind of really resonates with everybody, young and old, black and white.
Yeah, and I think that answers the question you asked earlier too about the answers people are getting. I mean, about the different reactions that we're getting. I think that plays into that. This is a different generation that hasn't really struggled a lot, and so when we have a pandemic, as you say, and you look up and you see people on the beach, and you look up another picture and they're congregated here and they're congregated there. Back in my day, it wouldn't have taken much, for us to, as a whole, to lock down. But today, because of it's a different generation not being used to a lot of struggling, not being used to. That's why you hear a lot of rebellion, my rights, my this, And meanwhile, you like, how can you say that when you see how many people have already died? How can you say that when you see how many people are still sick and the numbers are still going up? But it's a different generation, and unfortunately, the body count, the numbers going up. Other words, they've been scared to one degree, but there's another degree of scared, and we're not there yet, and so they're not there yet, and so and that's where we are. I mean, that's where we are.
And so, in terms of you and songwriting, so is this something that you've done before or even now? And
Yes, yes. I always have one. I call it keeping one foot in the game. So I write all the time. When I'm at, so I've been doing songs for a period of time writing. I like the new social media we have today because I spent a lot of time writing when it required a lot to get the song out. And so and so now I do like that. At least you stand a better chance of doing something, working hard on it, and at least getting it minimally out. I mean, and it could go, it could go viral and get big, But my point is, yeah, back in my early days, you didn't have that option, so you could go through recording something, and then it's like a gamble of, getting it to somebody to, to help you.
nice. And who would you say, like, I think you kind of mentioned it already with like Stevie Wonder and Marvin Gaye. So who would you say like are your influences or your favorite artists?
Well, I don't really have a favorite artist because there's so many great artists of my time. From like you said, I mean, it's great. So that's it. So I mean, so I have an experience or an opinion about all the great artists because I have a huge catalog of music, on my playlist, and it covers all the greats. Whether you had one great song, or whether you had a series of songs and albums. So yeah, it was. I grew up in a very musical era, and so I don't take anything from anybody. They all were greats. They all had great songs. I've been moved and touched and inspired by them all. So that's where I stand. As a kid, though, I'll say this: as a kid, the Jackson Five had the biggest appeal. When as a kid, seeing black group brothers, for the first time at that level, yeah, that probably was the most inspiring thing because we didn't have anything like that before. But short of that's my answer to that.
So I think in terms of like sticking to that theme, so if you can like tell me what it was like growing up for you, and if you were watching TV, what kind of TV shows were you watching? What cartoons were you watching? And this is like for both of you. So
Right. When I was coming up, like I said, we did watch television. Like was like right after school, we'd watch TV. We spent more time outside than this generation. But coming home, and there's different eras of television. When I was young, I watched a lot of cartoons. I'm trying to remember some of those. I mean, like a lot of superhero cartoons. Like
Like the Flintstones.
yeah, like the Flintstones, the Jetsons, and that kind of thing. And then and then there was some hero Thors and the Captain America, and then that kind of thing, was on. And I remember there was a robot type thing on, and I can see it, but I can't figure out. I mean, I can't remember what it was called. And then and then coming up, and then as the black shows got introduced. I remember the first one probably was a show called Julia, and then from there,
Oh, I know
you know,
Julia. We did it on our
yeah,
pod.
yes. So
Really
so that
nice
was probably
show.
the very first one, and then after that, but the first and the one that was first, impacting. I'm not sure which one came first. I don't know if Good Times came first or Sanford and Son. I can't remember, but those were the most two impacting black shows of my era. you know. So, and when Good Times definitely just, just you saw the family, you could relate, and so and there's some shows in between I'm missing. And I watched Annie Griffith, I mean there were shows that I liked, that weren't black, because of course we didn't have a whole lot of them. Um, so. But other than that, a typical kid, but definitely watching a lot of television shows like you're talking about,
Yeah,
right back then.
because
So,
for
you
me,
know,
like being from the UK, sorry, I'd never like really watched Good Times, but like when me and my partner for the podcast, my brother-in-law Paul, when we kind of did some of these shows, we were like, these are amazing. Like we, there isn't anything of like similar elk in the UK. So watching
no,
like Good Times in particular, we're watching that. We're
mhm.
like, this is incredible. This is amazing. And I think The Jeffersons was another program
Oh, yeah,
similar
yeah,
of that era. We're watching it. We're like,
mhm,
this is like
yeah,
incredible quality. And this was part of me doing the pod as well, because it's like I'm learning about all these American shows, and like our audience in the UK are learning about all these different shows as well, like Good Times, like the Jefferson, Sanford and Sons, and I can't remember what the program was before the Jeffersons.
uh, um, Archie Bunker.
I think it was
That was
something along those lines, yeah. And so like we're doing all those shows, and we're like learning about them, and we're thinking that these are all
great
amazing.
show.
Because obviously we did them because we have Black History Month, so we'll just do like a month where we're
Oh,
just doing black shows. Because obviously we've got Black History Month in October in the UK as well.
uh-huh.
Because obviously you guys have it in February, we've got it in October. So like
Oh,
two
really?
months out of the year, we just do like black TV shows and cartoons. So
Right.
just discovering all of these ones was like, for us, it was like it was a learning curve, and also it was like these are so amazing. So I'm
Right.
glad you kind of said those, because like my face just lit up when you said Good Times, because like, I absolutely
Yeah,
loved
oh,
that
great
show.
show. Yeah,
Absolutely
great
loved it.
show. Yeah,
And
I can say great, great show.
what
Um,
about you, Dante?
It's funny because I grew up watching most of those same shows. I guess they were being syndicated. But
Yeah,
yeah, most of those same shows. Uh, I think also we watched a lot of like shows like Three's a Company. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that in the UK. There was also What's Happening. You remember that show, What's Happening?
I don't think I know what's happening. I know.
Yeah, that was a popular.
Yeah, I
That was a
don't.
popular black show with Rerun. Everybody knew the character Rerun from that particular show. But as far as cartoons, it was kind of the same thing. I mean, I think when I grew up, we had a little bit more stuff like He-Man and Transformers. Um, but again, there wasn't back then. It wasn't so much content available. So and it was only a few channels, so you pretty much watched whatever came on TV.
And did you grow up in DC, or did you grow up in LA?
Yes. No, grew up in Washington D.C.
Okay,
area.
so how was growing up for you then?
Growing up, we lived outside the D.C. area. the DC area. This was in the 80s and the 90s. So the DC was like the murder capital of the country for a long time. But we lived a little bit in the suburbs, so we didn't have to deal with that too much. But it was interesting times. I mean, I grew up in the era of like gangster rap and all of that stuff. So there was a lot of things like that going on. But other than that, I had a normal childhood.
I take it we're the same age, or might be in the same age group, or
I'm
maybe
39.
I was just about to say you're probably younger than me, and somehow you're not. I'm 32. It's ridiculous
Oh,
that you're
32.
39. It's ridiculous. I was literally going to say you're probably younger than me. I probably would have said like 27, 28.
Oh, wow. But that's okay. We're still around 30. That counts.
But don't worry, yeah. Black don't crack, yeah. I've
Yeah,
got, as you
that's
see, I've
true.
got the quarantine beard. That's why, yeah.
Yeah.
I think at the moment, 75% of my face is just beard because obviously I can't.
Also, you don't normally wear the beard.
I've not had a beard now for, I can't remember now. I can't remember a time
Mm.
when I didn't have a beard, but now it's just spiraled out of control because obviously I have no barber. I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have to be honest. I've been cutting my hair as well and shaving as well.
yeah.
But yeah, I think everybody's been growing that quarantine beard.
I think I might at some point next week, depending on how brave I'm feeling. I might just give a little trim. Like even my hair is like an absolute mess at the moment. That's why I've been wearing like caps since the beginning of like lockdown. Because like my hair is
Yeah.
an absolute mess. I'm just not gonna. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep wearing hats forever, even if I'm indoors. Like, I'm just gonna keep
So
wearing
what's the
hats.
extent? What's the extent of you guys' lockdown? What's the extent of that?
Well, it's funny that you asked that because I think the way like we've kind of done it here in the UK has been really bad. Like we were initially too late to lock down to begin with, because we were like literally just going along our normal daily lives, and the prime minister was like, "Oh, don't worry about the virus. It's absolutely fine. Everybody go on living their lives and whatnot." And then once you kind of see like the numbers just like cases just going up, and it just got to the point where okay, fine, we're gonna lock down, everything's shut, and I think like the only sort of times that we're really allowed outside is for like an hour's exercise, picking up medical supplies, so like paracetamol, things like that, or if you're going shopping. And as of
But the
last,
prime minister there also got infected,
yeah,
right?
he
Didn't the prime
did.
minister?
Because he
Okay.
thought it'd be a good idea to go around hospitals shaking people's hands that have got the coronavirus. So his thing was like, "Oh, this virus is fine. I'm going to go to hospitals. I'm going to shake everybody's hands, and don't worry about it. It's all going to be fine. We're going to keep calm and carry on." And the bulldog British spirit, and I don't think that really worked out for us. And I think as of last week, it was kind of announced that the lockdown was going to start to be eased up a little bit. So it'll be like people who can go to work should go to work. And obviously, if you can't, then you should be encouraged to stay at home. And obviously, then the messaging was really, really confusing because at the one hand, he's saying, "Oh, you should go out to work and take public transport. But if you can't, you should stay at home. But if you have to go," like it's really, really confusing. And if you actually look at frontline workers, whether it's like people who drive buses, people who are like the nurses, people who are in charge of the care homes, it's mostly people of color who are doing that,
Yeah.
and it's working class
Same here.
people. So it's exactly the same in America. So it's like the prime minister is essentially saying to like working class people and particularly black people is go out, you guys can go out and work and away you go, whereas people who are in a more privileged position can stay at home, can work from home, and they won't have to go out and face whatever's out there. And we kind of find out that the rate of infection here in the UK has actually gone up now since last week. And it's like,
I heard that in the UK, just like here, more black people,
yeah,
or I say this, black people are more likely to die from the
yeah,
virus
yeah,
in the UK. Same thing here. The same thing here. And
Absolutely.
it's been said that black and brown people are being used as guinea pigs for this
Yeah,
virus.
yeah. Because
It's
if
really
you,
sad.
like I said, if you look at who are the frontline workers who are literally out there now, so whether of like the warehouses are all open, whether it's like people driving buses, whether it's like nurses and even doctors, whether it's like people who are looking after the elderly in care homes, it's mostly black and brown people who are doing those jobs. And when you see like who's getting infected more and who's getting affected more, it's black and brown
Yeah.
people, and that's
Yeah, it's
literally
like
what it feels like.
yeah, in the state of Georgia, they were one of the first states to like reopen, and they decided to reopen barbershops, hair salons, and nail salons, mostly places that are owned and frequented by black people. So, but they didn't open like the country clubs and the golf
No,
courses and stuff like that. Yeah,
absolutely not. And here, like they're trying
yeah,
to get schools to open, and it's like yeah, like all the sort of primary and secondary schools, so like young kids, they're all like expected to like go back to school, and teachers again are expected to go back to work. Whereas like if you look at here, like Eton, which is like a really posh fancy school, they've literally said we're not going to open until September. Like we're not doing that at all. Whereas like if you go to like the inner cities and like the sort of where we are, like inner city, they're like, oh, all the schools are open. We need to get the kids back to school, education, and what have you. And it's like, yeah, how about you open like Eton and Winchester and all those schools first, and but it's like you're going to open all the ones where all the inner city kids go to, and all the state schools and that sort of thing. And it's just, I don't know. It just makes you want to pull your hair out because it's so
Well, yeah,
frustrating.
it is, but if you think about it, looking at what's happening there and what's happening across the country, and where there's a lot of minorities. I mean, one thing about what's going on now, I mean, either you see it or you don't. I mean, it's they expose. I mean, like you said, I mean, we're talking about it, casually, but that's what they're doing. We should look at it for what it is, and no less or no more. So I'm just saying, I mean, you know, I- like I said, the fact that they're opening up barber shops, nail shops, and hair salons when people are right on top of each other. So there was a barber here just a couple of days ago that one barber infected 12 people. So, like I said, I mean, even in the sense of practicing safe distance, those jobs are not essential, and those jobs put you right in the face, of the client. I mean, you're right there. It's like one on one. You're doing my nails, you're doing my hair, you're cutting my. I mean, we can't be no closer than that. So so you would think that alone they wouldn't wouldn't be at the top of the list, but but the list doesn't make sense anymore because over here they're doing one thing, over there they're doing something else. Or one place is saying we got places down here where they say you can wear a mask, but it's not mandatory. So you go outside and I got a mask on because I could, but you saying I ain't wearing a mask. It's like I said, I think there's a way. I do believe there's a wave from all of this that's coming. Next
the second wave.
a
Yeah.
second wave, and that's the one that's going to reconstruct that this whole thing and the thinking of the doubters and don't get me wrong, I don't want to make it light of economics. I know you're making a decision going either I stay in and don't get sick, or I economically I can't pay my bills. So it's a it's a situation where I understand what people are saying where about, but I can't pay my bills, and I understand that. But if you are the breadwinner of those households and you go out and get sick, now what? Now you're just taking away your entire opportunity to help your family versus postponing it as long as you can. But anyway, I know it's I know it's got to be it's rough for anybody dealing with that. gonna worry about how to pay their bills. And so I understand. I understand.
And last question. So, like I said, like obviously you're feeling a lot better now. Like, thank God for that. And what I mean, if there was like one thing you could say to anybody who just thinks that, because I think the weird thing for me about this virus is that it can spread without you not even having it. Like
Right.
that's the
Or not showing symptoms.
scariest thing I think about, because like, normally if it's like a case of somebody who may have been sick coughed and that's how I got it, that kind of makes sense. So it's like perfectly healthy person could be a carrier and then pass it on to somebody who, and these two are not necessarily sick. So that's for me, like that's like it's so scary. But what would you say to people who I don't know, like who still might want to look at it and think, oh, this is just the flu, it will go away, like the common cold, and because that's how people kind of used to see it before. But what would you like your last thing? What would you say about that?
I mean, my suggestion would be to take it seriously. I mean, look at the numbers, like, and don't necessarily listen to everything that government officials are saying, because they do seem to be more interested in the economy than they are in the well-being of people, especially Black people. But look at the numbers, do some research. I mean, actually, by just Googling the topic, you can easily, especially if you're a person of color, you can easily see that this is affecting us a lot more than it's affecting the general population. And then just use common sense. You don't. Nobody has to tell you to wear a face mask for you to come to the conclusion that you should wear a face mask. And really, no one should have to tell you to wash your hands and use hand sanitizer and keep your distance as well. Like, really, at the end of the day, those are all obvious things that we all need to do. So do those things and continue to do those things. Don't necessarily stop doing those things just because your local government has now decided to ease things. Because again, at the end of the day, it's your life and the life of your family members that's involved. So that would be my suggestion. And then I want to bring attention to this song that my dad wrote. It was inspired by awareness. And encouraging people to take it seriously, knowing that music can reach people, reaches their minds, and reaches their hearts. So when you guys get a chance, take a look, take a listen to the song. It's called the Coronavirus Song or the Rona Song. And then my dad, he goes by the name of the Undiscovered Artist. The song can be listened to for free. You just go to coronavirussong.com. You can also find it on iTunes, as I mentioned, also on Spotify and any other place where you can stream music. But it's a powerful song that really makes it real for our community, and hopefully it'll encourage more and more people to take this seriously and hopefully save some lives.
Awesome. And I think you kind of answered the main bit. I was going to say, like, where can we find you on the socials?
Everything, all the information is coronavirussong.com. Yeah,
And yeah,
everything's there.
that's all. Is it coronavirussong.com? And that's where we
Yeah,
can find all the details, all the information, and things like that.
exactly, exactly. And
Oh,
we appreciate you for having us on the show.
yeah, thank you so much for talking to me. I had so much fun talking to you guys, and I'm so glad that you're feeling all right and healthy.
Thank you.
And obviously, long may that continue, both of you and your family. And
Likewise.
yeah, come back anytime. And if you've got another song or anything like that, you can always drop by and have a chat. And again, love to shoot the breeze about music, cartoons, and everything in between.
Sounds good. Thank you. We really
All right.
appreciate you.
Thank you, Apps. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, guys. So there you have it, Dante Lee and the Undiscovered Artist. Two really, really nice guys, and I'm so happy that Dante has made a recovery and is over the worst of the symptoms. And long may that continue. And for all of us, really, like the whole world, I just hope and pray that we can come out of this the other side and return to some semblance of normality as soon as possible. It also feels like we're not getting enough good news stories and feel-good stories from this virus, because it's so brutal and it's killed so many people all around the world and continues to do that. So hopefully this tale can serve as some kind of inspiration that you can recover from this, and hopefully in terms of all of us in the rest of the world, we'll be back out there from our lockdowns and our self-isolations and quarantines. Hopefully sooner rather than later, we'll be out of all of that and, like I said, return to some semblance of normality. And as they said, go on coronavirussong.com, listen to the song, the Rona song. It's available on all of the music platforms or wherever you listen to your music. Support it. It's a really, really good, really important song. I think it sums up the mood of the entire world right now. I think we need a little bit more of that, where people are expressing exactly how they feel. Yeah, it was a really, really good chat, and you can follow the Undiscovered Artist on Instagram at undiscoveredartist_official. And yeah, give them a follow, support what they're doing. So I really hope you enjoyed that. And we're actually going to be back really soon with new episodes. And yeah, we're going to be talking about some incredible cartoons and TV shows. I've managed to put it all together, and yeah, I can't wait to show you guys what we're gonna do from, I don't know, like in the next couple of weeks. So watch this space, and you can listen to previous episodes of Yesterday's Capers. It's available wherever you get your podcast from. So please subscribe, please listen to it, please share it with your mates and your mates' mates, and also, wherever you are around the world, please let me know where you're listening to Yesterday's Capers, because I love to see and I love to hear where people are listening all around the world. It doesn't matter where in the world you are. If you're listening to Yesterday's Capers, I want to know about it, and I want to appreciate that. And you can follow the channel Yesterday's Capers on Instagram at Yesterday's Capers 1. We're on Twitter at Yesterday Capers. You can follow me on Insta at Abdullah_Moallim. And you can follow me on Twitter at Abdullah Moallim, all one word. Give me a holler. And yeah, let me know what shows we should talk about. And any other comments you may have for the pod, I would love to hear it. And yeah, join us pretty soon for brand new episodes of Yesterday's Capers.